All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christoph Kositzke. I'm a biology major here at the University of Kentucky, a senior, and I conducted my research in the entomology department. And I'm pretty fortunate in that I was placed perfectly to talk about another opportunity we're developing on controlling pests in Kentucky without pesticides. So my target of focus is the striped cucumber beetle. And the reason we care about this beetle is because it eats a family of crops called cucurbits. You might not recognize that word, but cucumbers, melons, and squash are three of the most prominent crops in this crop family. And together, the cucurbits account for about half of all of Kentucky's vegetable acreage. Across the United States, this beetle, the corn rootworm beetle, inflicts about $100 million worth of damage on U.S. agriculture every year. And one of the main ways farmers have been fighting this beetle is through the use of what they call monitoring traps. Now, the farmers will place these traps in their fields and check them periodically. And the traps capture these beetles and then lets the farmers know when the beetle population is heavy enough that pesticides need to be applied. So it prevents the farmers from using an excess amount of pesticides. Now, the current trap that farmers are using is the yellow sticky trap. Imagine a piece of yellow cardboard with glue on each side. And the problem is that trap is flawed. It is expensive and it is a single-use trap, which means over the course of the field season, a farmer is creating a lot of waste. So my goal in the summer of 2017 was to develop a superior alternative. And I started by going through all of the home gardening forums from Kentucky, basically crowdsourcing this from local Kentucky farmers who had already done a lot of their own independent designs and taking the best features I found from those designs. And I combined that into what I call the modified funnel trap. It's not too pretty, but it is simple. The basis is a 2-liter soda bottle with some mesh. It is largely created from recyclable materials. It is durable, and it is cost-effective. So once it had been created, I tested it in the field against the yellow sticky trap over the summer of 2017. Now keep in mind that I set out to develop a monitoring trap that was reusable and cost-effective in relation to the yellow sticky trap. So you can imagine my surprise when we found out that this trap is 400% as effective at capturing these beetles than the yellow sticky trap was. And that opened up an entirely new direction. It opened up the potential to use this trap to independently control these beetle populations and take pesticides out of the equation, along with all of the ensuing environmental damages over-applications of these pesticides can cause. Now, we have determined that in a large field setting, you have to oversaturate with these traps. It might not be the best location for them. A follow-up study in a small home gardening setting this past summer determined that a lot of the home gardens simply don't have the kind of beetle pressure we need to deploy this trap. They're not really having an issue anyways. But we believe that this trap is ideally situated to address pest issues in small organic farms, which is a growing sector of Kentucky agriculture. In addition, we determined that this trap is economically beneficial. We ran a cost-benefit analysis and determined that though there is a larger initial cost to these traps, you have to construct them, as opposed to the yellow sticky trap, which can simply be placed in the field and goes. It takes 17 weeks for this trap to pay itself off. The average growing season in Kentucky is 18 weeks. So within one growing season, this trap has paid itself off. Assuming a conservative lifespan of this trap of 2 field seasons, you're getting an entire season of profitability off this trap. And assuming that farmers have a lot of the basic materials to construct this, which, 2-liter soda bottle, some mesh, some glue, you're making back your money even quicker. Now, I believe that this trap has proven to be cost-effective, it is more sustainable, it produces less waste, and we are excited to see how it can benefit Kentucky farmers going forward and reduce their pesticide applications in the future. It's also simple enough that Kentucky farmers can construct it themselves. It takes a few hours, it takes very basic tools, and they can churn these out with what would otherwise be going into a landfill potentially. I'm excited to see how this affects Kentucky and the region, and I hope you are too. Thank you for your time.